of us are here as friends of Donald Trump, supporting him in our personal capacity, sharing our opinions. That's why we're here today. But I hope every American at home who isn't able to be in that courtroom is able to see what's actually happening there. And when you do, we will have a landslide of historic proportion this November if every American understands the injustice that's playing out in that courtroom today.
Yes. That was Vivek Ramaswamy. He was outside of the courthouse in New York yesterday, along with Byron Donalds, who was outside the courthouse yesterday. Governor Doug Burgum, North Dakota, outside the courthouse yesterday. And the news media is very upset about that. They want them arrested now for violating a gag order that has never been imposed on them. But the news media is a left-wing lynch mob. I think pretty soon they're going to be talking about setting up gulags and rail spurs to take away all of the offenders. Remarkable stuff. Wah, wah, wah. Our political system is not in good shape right now. Vivek outside the courthouse. Well, I want to share some more of what was said outside the courthouse in New York with you, and then the media response to it, which is really where the headlines are, I think. Let's go to soundbite number 10. Vivek Ramaswamy taking to the microphones, and we noticed it yesterday. Everybody was dressed in an incredibly, remarkably similar fashion. Beautiful suits, white shirts, red ties, and I guess a light blue, kind of a light medium blue suit, maybe grayish. I don't know. I'm not a haberdasher after all, but here's Vivek Ramaswamy outside the courthouse yesterday, there with a group of Republicans showing their support for President Trump.
The only thing more depressing than the environment of that courtroom is what's actually happening in there. It's straight out of a Kafka novel. The prosecution's main strategy appears to be to bore the jurors into submission. And if you look in that direction, sadly, it may appear to actually be working.
You know, they're just counting, the Democrats are counting on the jury, the Manhattan jury, being as corrupt as they are in their hearts. Their hope is that they empaneled a lynch mob and that they will do their duty as the Democrat Party sees it and take out Donald Trump, which is the Democrat Party's goal. Vivek Ramaswamy yesterday.
Imagine if the same shoe fit the other foot. Imagine if it was Joe Biden that was on trial. You had a Republican judge whose son was collecting millions of dollars as a Republican operative. What would you all be saying? This would not be justice. This is injustice at its worst.
This is injustice at its worst. And injustice is always, bad. But I'm telling you. I'm also, there are kind of mixed reports about CNN hosting a presidential debate, but we've got our ear to the ground on that. Now, there was another politician there, and a good guy. There was a guy I talked about him recently. Actually, he is the governor of North Dakota, a very successful businessman, Doug Burgum, and he showed up in New York yesterday to demonstrate his support for President Trump as well.
When you've got a judge that's a donor to Biden, you got prosecutors that are supporters of Biden, and then you've got relatives of the judge that are benefiting financially directly from this trial and that information. And then you've got the star witness is a serial perjurer. Then you have to ask yourself, what is this all about? And I think the only conclusion, of course, is it's election interference, and it's tying up the president from being out on the campaign trail.
Which is the goal, of course. A fun headline at The Hill, an alleged newspaper based in Washington, D.C. The hot new GOP club is at Trump New York trial. That's the headline. It's a new club. They should have music. And I noticed that their microphones are close to them, unlike Donald Trump, who they can't seem to, all the networks are there with their cameras. Normally they would have a pool operation. They pool their resources. And you would set up a mic stand, a microphone stand, running a cable from the microphone or microphones to what they call a mult box, because you multiply the outputs and then all the networks would plug their audio cables into the mult box. Everybody would get a clean audio feed. But that has not happened week after week after week in New York, which, as a former network news television news producer, I would say that is inexplicable. I would negotiate with whoever the powers are at the courthouse to make sure that that happened. But that hasn't happened weeks and weeks on end. Funny headline from the Hill, though. The hot new GOP club is at Trump's New York trial. Fun, fun, fun. The Manhattan courthouse where former President Trump is on trial has become the latest proving ground for Republicans to show their loyalty and bolster their credentials with Team Trump. A parade of GOP lawmakers and other Republicans have attended Trump's hush money trial. It's not a hush money trial, but never mind that. In recent days, standing alongside the former president and delivering remarks attacking the case as political. So telling the truth, which is supposed to be your role in the news media, but never mind that. Sometimes in ways Trump cannot because of a gag order. Now, I have been, again, recommending this for weeks now, that Trump impersonators show up outside the court and deliver all of the blows that Trump would like to deliver, but is prohibited allegedly from doing by the gag order imposed by the Democrat Joe Biden donor judge, who is, what's the word? A crook. So we've got that going. But Governor Doug Burgum, North Dakota, successful businessman, he showed up outside the courthouse, and he is on the maybe list for vice presidential running mate. Doug Burgum outside the courthouse yesterday.
We know that from the polls that have come out, even from the New York Times, Rasmussen Interactive this week, President Trump is leading all over the country. And the conclusion you could draw from that is the American people have already acquitted Donald Trump, because the things that they're concerned about, inflation, crime, the border, the economy, all of these things, President Trump is leading by huge double digits versus Joe Biden.
Which is why the Democrats are, it's just another excuse for them to lose what's left of their minds, right? And it's true the polls have the Democrats in a panic because, they're in a panic about a lot of things. Their gender identity, to name one. They're horrified, I've got to say. And they will not sit still for this. The radical left-wing extremists at the New Republic with the headline, "Terrified by Trump's shocking poll surge?" ? Listen to Biden's data guy. All of the data consistently shows that our campaign needs to do a better job with younger voters, with black voters, with Hispanic voters. And everything for them is always about race, of course. One of the areas where they've got big trouble is with young voters, 18 years old to 29 years old, in swing states. It's always swing states. Does that mean they date each other's wives? Is that what it means? And Biden has 43% and Trump has 46%, according to the New York Times. New York Times and the Philadelphia Inquirer got together with Siena College, naturally, and they took a poll, and Trump is winning among young. Now, the Democrats are supposed to have a lock on voters that are aged 18 to 29. And now Trump is beating Biden and the Democrats. Also, Biden versus Trump among Hispanic voters. And they're in a panic about this. They're going to have to destroy Hispanic voters and RFK Jr. as well. Now, it is in 2024, the Hispanic voters, 41% for Trump, 31% for Biden. That is a huge disparity, and 18% for RFK Jr. RFK Jr. is, that's why they need to take him out, the Democrats do, because they want that 18%, the Democrats, and RFK Jr. is literally in danger, and they won't give him Secret Service protection. We shared that with you yesterday. Hispanic voters, the New York Times poll, the brand new poll, if the election were held today, who would you vote for? Among swing state Hispanic voters, 45% for Biden, 42% for Trump. So Biden ahead in that poll. But one of the big problems they have is black voters increasingly support Trump. New York Times Siena poll. And in 2020, Biden had 91% of black voters, 8% for Trump. Now, Trump has 23% of black voters, and Biden, who used to have 91% of the black vote, now has 63% of the black vote. That is an enormous drop. Just giant. I mean, if you're losing more than 20 points with black voters, that's gigantic. And they're in a panic about this, an absolute panic. Also, Trump leads in 5 of the 6 swing states, with Joe Biden leading in Wisconsin, swing states being Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin. And Trump is leading in Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, and Pennsylvania, with Joe Biden leading only by 2 points in Wisconsin. So they're in an absolute panic about this. Now, Congressman Byron Donalds, also outside the courthouse yesterday, and wonderful. And Byron Donalds is just great. Everybody loves Byron Donalds. Florida, new guy, common sense, speaks the truth. And he's, what would Joe Biden say about him? Only Joe Biden can come up with stuff that racist. I'll just leave it to him. Congressman, Republican Byron, he's African-American for Democrats listening along from Florida, Byron Donalds.
Ladies and gentlemen of America, this trial is a joke. This thing is a farce. Where's the crime? There is no crime. The only crime that's happening here is this Democrat judge and the Democrat Party prosecuting their political rival right in the middle of a presidential election.
Right in the middle of a presidential election. That is a fact check. Amazing. Hispanic voters, black voters, 18 to 29 voters, swing state voters, they're in a panic. Everyone is in danger right now. Congressman Byron Donalds outside the courthouse yesterday.
This is a joke. It is a farce. It is a travesty. We are better than this as Americans. And unfortunately, the Democrat Party has lost their ever-loving minds. And so it's going to take the American people to remind them that justice is supposed to be blind. It is not supposed to be going after political opponents and political rivals.
That is a fact, Jack. Remarkable. Now, they went out there and they showed up outside the courthouse and they spoke their piece. Now, President Trump is restricted allegedly by a gag order imposed on him by the crooked Democrat judge who is a Biden donor, whose daughter is bringing in literally tens of millions of dollars to a Democrat fund. And she's becoming wealthy at the same time, naturally, because the Democrats, their crooked politics is just extraordinary. But let's go to, we have MSDNC and we have CNN responding to Republicans showing up outside the courthouse yesterday. And I'm going to want to share CNN and MSNBC with you, making things up, lying, just outright lying, and calling for more lynch mobs for Republicans. What do you hear our news media? Honestly, the news media is the most corrupt institution in America, as you know. You know that the best-selling Eden Pure Thunderstorm air purifier uses Oxy technology that helps quickly destroy many viruses, odors, mold, and more, with thousands of 5-star reviews online. You know, it works like a champ. We've got 2 of them at home ourselves. Any smell will vanish after just a few seconds with the thunderstorm being on. Odors from trash cans, cigarette smoke, college protesters, no match for the Eden Pure Thunderstorm. The powerful thunderstorm sends out O3 molecules that seek out and help destroy odors and nastiness. These molecules even go behind and underneath furniture. Nothing can hide from the thunderstorm. And maybe best of all, no filters to buy and replace over and over again like so many air filters and air purifiers. Start enjoying your home, your office, fresh air, and get several thunderstorms, because right now you can save $200 American on an Eden Pure Thunderstorm 3-pack for whole home protection. You're going to get 3 units. You can hold one in your hand. They're not gigantic. You plug them right into the wall and they hang right there. 3 units for under $200. Put one in your basement, your teenager's room, your bedroom, your office. Give one to your uncle. He needs it. Go to EdenPureDeals.com and use the discount code Chris3 to save $200. That's EdenPureDeals.com. The discount code is CHRIS, the number 3. Yeah, wait till you hear the news media responding to Republicans showing their support for Trump. The jihadis have nothing on the Democrats at this point. That's coming right up. Now, the Democrat Party is the left, the international left, the global left, the anti-American left, the un-American left. New York Times headline, Appeals Court upholds gag order on Trump in Manhattan trial. CNN, Appeals Court denies Trump's latest request to overturn hush money trial gag order. It's a non-disclosure agreement. CNN has had a lot of women sign them. And the Daily Beast, Tommy Tuberville, says he spoke at Trump's trial to, quote, overcome this gag order. Senator Tommy Tuberville.
It's weaponization of the political system. They're trying to deter the next president of the United States from having a say-so in his own trial. He pretty much can't defend himself. So hopefully we have more and more senators and congressmen go up every day to represent him and be able to go out and overcome this gag order. And that's one of the reasons we went, is to be able to speak our piece for President Trump.
One of the reasons we went, able to speak our piece for President Trump. Now, the media wants to gag everyone. The corrupt, filthy media wants to gag anyone that would even speak on behalf of President Trump. And it's been my plan, again, all along, to have a Trump impersonator come up there and read a script that every line would violate the gag order. But were they going to arrest a Trump impersonator? And they're also saying now that the gag order also restricts people from speaking on behalf of President Trump, which is just, I mean, honestly, we're going to be swinging from trees in this country before long. We're becoming such a banana republic, such a third world country. But Senator Tommy Tuberville, that was yesterday on Newsmax, on the Chris Salcedo show, that Senator Tuberville of Alabama said that. And we need more Republicans up there speaking on behalf. Challenge their authority. Question authority. Well, we're also, I've got more for you on presidential debates, which they're making noises right now like it's actually going to happen. I'll believe it when I see it. But I will update you on that because the lies keep flowing in over the transom here. And we don't even have a transom. But we just learned that Stormy Daniels, and she apparently is married to a man. She's married to a man. His name is Barrett Blake. Barrett Blake. He must have no pride whatsoever. None whatsoever. Hell, this is my wife. Okay. Pass the rolls. They just amazing. But they have declared that if President Trump is not convicted in this trial in New York, that's it. They're going to leave the country. I assume they're going to go on vacation to the Bahamas or something and come back a couple of days later. They're going to leave the country, they say. They always say they're going to leave the country and they never leave the country. Please, leave the country. Leave now. Either way, it'd be fine with us if you left.
You can try Gaza.
Yeah, Gaza. Gaza is calling your name. You're a pornster and the pornster's husband. I think they're looking for you. Now, let's get to the news media responding to Republicans outside the courthouse yesterday, because the news media they bring the rope to the lynch mob. Also, since we're talking about Democrats and their many disorders here today, the New York Post reporting Peru, the nation of Peru in South America. I know several people from Peru. Peru classifies transgender, non-binary, and intersex people as mentally ill Mentally ill. The nation of Peru. The Peruvian government has officially classified transgender, non-binary, and intersex people as mentally ill. The controversial decision, why would that be controversial, was made to ensure the country's public health service could guarantee full coverage of medical attention for mental health for the trans community, the Peruvian Health Ministry explained, according to the Telegraph out of the United Kingdom. The decree will supposedly alter the language in the Essentials Health Insurance Plan to reflect that trans and intersex people have a mental disorder. The LGBTQ plus outlet Pink News reported. I think they're disapproving. So there it is, categorized as a mental illness. All right, now let's get back to the other Democrats, because a lot of Democrat stuff going on here. Honestly, it never stops because the Democrats are so crazy. But the crazy people at CNN have published a story. Biden and Trump accept CNN's invitation to debate on June 27th. June 27th. There are many conditions that they have placed on this, but President Joe Biden, CNN says so. It might be true. President Joe Biden and former President Donald Trump have both accepted an invitation from CNN to debate on June 27th, a historically early showdown that will set the tone for the final months of the 2024 campaign. That's what CNN says. I've received and accepted an invitation from CNN for a debate June 27th. Over to you, Donald. As you said, anywhere, anytime, any place, Biden said in a post on X. Somebody wrote it for him. Trump later told CNN's Caitlin Collins, the answer is yes, I will accept. So they will botch it somehow. CNN or the Biden campaign, they're going to lay on lots and lots of conditions, and those are dribbling in too. But let's go back to the media responding corruptly to Republicans showing up outside of the courthouse yesterday. Senator Tommy Tuberville on Newsmax saying, yeah, well, we're giving voice to Trump since a gag order has been imposed, and it was reaffirmed by a court again yesterday. We had Speaker of the House Mike Johnson there. We had Governor Doug Burgum, Congressman Byron Donalds, had Vivek Ramaswamy there, and outside the courthouse, speaking on behalf of, but not officially designated to be speaking for Donald Trump, Congressman Corey Mills was there also, and that's a good thing, a very good thing. And the left, they don't believe in free speech rights. That means the Democrat Party doesn't believe in free speech rights. Let's go to MSDNC. Morning joke this morning. They had Charlie Sykes on, and they're trying to say that the Speaker of the House went up there and spoke to cameras, and somehow the Speaker of the House is now covered by the gag order that the crooked judge imposed on Donald Trump. These people are really off the rails mentally. He might be transgender. He shouldn't go to Peru.
This is not remotely normal that the Speaker of the House of Representatives would show up at the felony trial supporting Donald Trump, not in spite of his character, but embracing all of it, and then basically using his position to violate the gag order, to say things that the judge says do not, this would affect the trial.
Yeah, he's violating the gag order that is not on him and doesn't apply to him. CNN, Caitlin Collins.
What do you make of Trump's allies that we saw inside the White House today? Obviously, he's allowed, or inside the courthouse, he's allowed to bring whoever he would like with him. But J.D. Vance and Doug Burgum, both in moments outside the courthouse this week, attacked the judge, but also his daughter, which is precisely what led the judge to expand the gag order here. I imagine it's obviously difficult. I mean, they both said that they made those statements that they were here on their own. I imagine it's difficult for the judge to prove in the gag order that Trump had instructed them to make those statements, which it prevents him from doing.
The gag order prevents him from instructing someone else to say things, and he can't say anything. Congressman can't say anything about the judge's daughter who's raising tens of millions of dollars for left-wing causes, because the gag order now covers the whole country. It covers everybody. Nobody can say anything about the judge's Democrat activist daughter raising tens of millions of dollars for radical left-wing causes, or the judge donating to Joe Biden and then doing Joe Biden's bidding in the courtroom. Nobody can say anything about that. Isn't that amazing? CNN had former New York Supreme Court Justice Jill Convisor on.
Look, all of a sudden, everyone didn't just descend on the courthouse. There's some conversations. I pretty much guarantee Trump didn't call up and say, come on down and say these things, but someone probably did. So is it a violation of the gag order? Only if the people can prove, and it's their burden, that Trump had something to do with it.
The people. That's like the Communist Party use in China of the people. It's not we the people. But she's obviously a left-wing nut, and you got to prove that Trump said go do this, and then everybody can be arrested for speaking, because Democrats. MSDNC has Stephanie Ruhle. They just want everybody in prison because they're the left.
Today, the Speaker of the House had nothing better to do, nothing in D.C., but to go and sit in the courtroom with Trump. One of Trump's primary opponents, Vivek Ramaswamy, was there. Is this sort of a strategy to get closer to Trump, the Veep stakes, or is this part of a strategy to get around the gag order on Trump? He cannot go after the judge or the jurors or the judge's family, but maybe these jokers can.
Well, now, obviously, Republicans need to line up every day and trash the judge and his daughter and everybody else. Now, was the speaker actually in the courtroom yesterday? I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. Amazing stuff, but they're all being attacked by the crooked news media. Now, we just realized, because we're dopes, that I didn't get to the mailbag questions because everything kept flowing in over the transom, and I'm sorry to do this. I'm going to have to move the mailbag questions to tomorrow, and I was all ready to do them. We're going to have to move the mailbag questions to Thursday, mailbag day. I'm going to blame everybody else. Amazing stuff. So there it is. And how dare you go and speak on behalf of Trump? You can't speak on Trump's behalf. And the Speaker of the House, he's got nothing better to do. Well, the former President of the United States, the leader of the Republican Party, the presumptive Republican nominee, is being lynched by a Democrat lynch mob. The Speaker of the House went up there to show support for civilization and for our republic. But the news media, they just want to find new ways to jail people. MSDNC invited a Trump-hating lawyer, Barbara McQuade, on. She had some phony self-aggrandizing stuff several years ago about Trump. She's a Trump hater from way back.
Does it mean that they are there to violate the gag order, that they're taking their cues or orders from Donald Trump? He is not allowed to say things. And in fact, he has been ordered not to direct others to say things.
Yeah, don't tell other people to say things about the judge. Well, I think the judge is a cross-dressing, fishnet stocking-wearing street prostitute, and his daughter is her father's pimp. Now, is that illegal in America now? Because I thought that in America we had free speech and we could say what we wanted. Rachel Maddow, who's paid $30 million a year to do a 1 hour a week show on MSDNC, because the Democrat Party's propaganda machine is just the most extraordinary in the history. It would dazzle even gurgle, as the Reverend Al Charlatan would say. Rachel Maddow, there's a lot of unwellness.
One thing that has changed in the Republican Party is that their being in the tank for Donald Trump over the last 5 years has changed and become so much more tanked that they all now dress like him too. Yes. They were all wearing the exact same outfit. It was like they were Rockettes. Yeah. It's a little bit, I don't know.
Well, we commented on this yesterday in the studio. that they had, I guess, light blue suits on and white shirts and red ties. Several of them did, and in one camera shot. And speaking of being in the tank, you should have drowned long ago in the tank for Joe Biden, whose brain is completely broken, who's destroyed the economy, that led to wars all over the world. Hundreds of thousands of people have been killed in the wars that started after Joe Biden became president. You might focus on more relevant things, but then again, no. An NBC network pays her $30 million a year, according to multiple reports. Rachel Maddow.
Just to see them all lined up there, I mean, because Mike Johnson is the speaker, he gets a stripe, but all the rest of them, it's the exact same thing, and they're dressed up like him to praise him. They all use the same language. They all describe him as their friend. I mean, I don't know if Donald Trump has friends. I don't think that Vivek Ramaswamy is one of them, if he does have friends.
If he does have friends, if this is the level of discourse, and it is, then you unfortunately we have no choice but to return fire in kind. And it's a sad state of affairs in the media and politics that we've sunk to the levels that the Democrat Party has dragged us down to. But their anti-free speech worldview, their anti-Bill of Rights worldview, just extraordinary. Let's go to the telephones, and I can't believe we did this, but we're moving the mailbag to tomorrow. Let's go to Phil calling from Fredericksburg, Virginia. Phil, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Mr. Plant, I am amazed that every American in the United States has the right of free speech except for only one American. Former President John Trump does not have the right of free speech. He's the only American in America right now who cannot speak freely about his situation. Everybody in that court case can run their mouths. The judge, his daughter, Cohen, Stormy Daniels, and President Trump, the defendant, who's supposed to be protected under the Constitution, cannot say a word about this prosecution. It's ridiculous, and it has to stop.
Well, now the news media, Phil, is saying that the Speaker of the House can't address these matters either, and that Senator Tuberville can't address these matters, and that Governor Burgum can't address these matters. So that's a House member, a Senate member, and a governor that were there in the media telling us that, they could be in danger of finding themselves in trouble with the law, at odds with the law, which, usually leads to handcuffs and jail sentences and pre-dawn raids with the FBI and body armor with rifles. And the Democrat Party, this is all the Democrat Party, Phil. This is what the Democrat Party has become. And the abuses of power know no bounds at this point, and they must be removed from power in the United States of America. It's an election year, and boy, I got to tell you, honestly, you're right about Donald Trump, the former president, being gagged by a Democrat donor, a Biden donor judge, whose daughter is a Democrat radical activist who's raking in literally tens of millions of dollars for Democrat stuff. And you can't say anything about it, and senators can't say anything about it, and governors can't say anything about it, and the Speaker of the House can't say anything about it, and the former president and future president of the United States can't say anything about it. That's the Democrat Party today. Your outrage.
It's absolutely un-American.
Yes.
It's un-American, Mr. Trump.
Yes.
Mr. Plant.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. You're 100% right about that. It's entirely un-American. And that's because the Democrat Party has become an un-American party. I grew up in a Democrat Party household. My mother wouldn't recognize this Democrat Party. Certainly John F. Kennedy wouldn't recognize, Bobby Kennedy wouldn't recognize us. I've said many times before, the Democrat Party is closer on the political spectrum today to Lee Harvey Oswald than they are to John F. Kennedy. And with all their Palestine stuff, the Democrat Party is closer on the political spectrum today to Sirhan Sirhan than they are to Robert F. Kennedy, who was shot and killed by Sirhan Sirhan. The Democrat Party has lost its way. It's not an American party. It's not recognizable as an American political party anymore. And they must be voted out of office. Extraordinary times we are in. So it was Jason in Kensington, our friend Jason in Kensington, said that David Trone should change his Total Wine to total loss, total after spending more than $60 million to lose a Democrat primary. That's pretty funny. Now, I got a lot of news since last we spoke. CNN, President Trump is confirming that there will be, that he's accepted, not that there will be. That's a different standard altogether. The CNN debate with Joe Biden on CNN. Well, CNN hosting. It'll be on wherever. And RFK Jr. is being excluded from the debate because Democrats are undemocratic. The Democratic Party isn't, as you know. RFK Jr. says the debate excluding him undermines democracy. Undermines democracy is what he actually said. And we're now learning that they have agreed to a second debate September 10th. It should really be September 11th because the Democrats, they're going to be the new sneak attack. The September 10th, ABC Fake News will allegedly host that debate. President Trump today was on the Hugh Hewitt show, and he said, Hugh Hewitt's great, and he said that for the debates, he thinks that Joe Biden should be drug tested because, you know, you look at him during the State of the Union, and he was obviously on something. They're amping him up. It's not just Prevagen anymore, but that President Trump said he's accepted the CNN sponsored debate on June 27th. And now ABC saying that they've got a presidential debate on September 10th. RFK Jr. would like to be included. Joe Biden still denying him Secret Service protection. President Trump says Joe Biden should be drug tested. And that's true. That's a good idea. A lot more on that by tomorrow, I have no doubt.